Hey there, it's Chris. Welcome back to the next part of the Bang Shishigami project, where if you recall, last time, we generally speaking got our boot thing kind of more or less ironed out. We got the top on, which I think I just need to bring the slit down, I think a little bit more, otherwise maybe a couple little touch-ups in there and kind of a little smoothing out. We got the medallions on, we have it kind of taped, or not taped, kind of roped on the bottom. And we even have the little, let's see around here, we even have a little kind of back medallion going on the back side. So, generally speaking, outside of a couple little touch-ups, and I think I need to redo the front talon. We're going to do that, as I said before, at the very end. We generally have the left boot done. And this time, we're going to start the right side. So, got ourselves a little extra clay. You know the routine. We're going to send this through. I don't feel like kneading this stuff by hand. And we ought to have, let's stick this on there. I don't feel like kneading this by hand, so let's just send it through this a couple times. That is far thinner than, that's number 4. Right. We don't want it that thin. Don't need it that thin. Right now I just need it nice enough to be able to do my own stuff with here. Okay, that ought to be fine. We got plenty to work with. So, first things first on this, we need to kind of more or less make the other leg the same size as this. Now, as you can probably tell, this leg looks like it's way out of proportion compared to the rest of the body. But as I believe I'd mentioned before, and if I haven't, we're just going to go over one more time real quick. Yes, this feels disproportional to the rest. Once I get the other foot the same size, it's going to feel good to that. Once I get the pants and stuff on in here, it's going to feel proportional to that. Once we get the shirt on. So it's big compared to the rest, but as we start adding more elements to this, this will all come back into scale again. And again, this is kind of go through this kind of visual, something doesn't look right part at the start of kind of like every detailing session of a project. So that's normal. It will come back. That said, let's see if we can get a couple quick look-sees at how big or small the legs need to be. I'm looking at about that size, so we need to pack out this leg just a little bit. If I recall, before doing this one, we had to do a little bit of packing out of stuff as well, so this is kind of expected. And at the same time, I remember to mention before, I need to bring this knee up a little bit so the leg actually is the same length as this one, because we had a little kind of noodle leg going on before, and that's not right. So we'll probably have the first like probably 15 minutes or so are going to be these kind of back of house dealings, kind of rebulking up the leg, getting everything kind of the right size. And then hopefully in that by around the 20-minute mark or so, we should be in or about ready to start the detailing stuff. And I'm hoping for about 2 sessions worth of this boot area, and then probably one more of kind of redoing little tweaks here or there, ironing out some details, and hopefully at that point we can actually harden what we have, and then all this will be locked in stone. So hopefully that's coming soon, because that's always an exciting time. And a dramatic sign too, because again, when I post the rain projects for the Night Witch project I'd done right before this one, first hardening phase got exciting. It worked out in the end, but we're just going to say it got a little exciting. And that's all we're going to say for that one. But some mistakes were made. We may have learned some things, and we're going to try to not repeat some of those things that happened. But again, the nice part with anything, at any stage of any of these projects, if something happens, something goes wrong, something doesn't feel right, it's always fixable. So I'm never worried about if something falls apart, if something feels disproportional, or any of that. It's no matter what happens, it can always be fixed. Even when things are set in stone, they're not set in stone. Even if I harden this, even if after the first hardening session I say I don't like an element, I want to change it, I can still change stuff at that point. It's definitely a little more trying to change things at that point. I would prefer to change stuff before the hardening phase, but things are still fixable after that point. It's not a huge issue. I'm trying to push up on the back of the leg here to get this leg to feel as if it's the same size. Now I know I've been holding kind of the waist and chest for a lot of these things, moving things around. So I already know back here I need to kind of repack out a little bit at the end. So we're going to have, there will be little kind of repack outs again after this section is done. But that's, again, not a huge issue. Let's get your feet in here. All right. Actually, what I should have is, yes, you're nice to know. You're nice to know with. I need to be a little more. If we go from, let's say, bottom of the foot to the back of the knee might be kind of a nice one to know, in which case for something like that, that might be, okay, so we're going to pack the foot down a little bit to bring that number. That number is less important than I'm kind of going to give it credit for, if only because he has those pants that are going to come down anyway past that point. So I don't need to be super, super concerned this time with that number. Other models, yes, that would be ridiculously important. This one, it's slightly less so. It might be more important to know where the top of the knee is rather than the bottom of the knee. Because the bottom's going to have those pants come down. They're super bulky. That part's not going to matter. But in any event, that does keep adding stuff to the bottom. I do have plenty of this. Even if that doesn't, it's not going to go down the full 3/4. He does have the big heel on his boot that comes down. So I'm not going to be sticking into the wood probably as much as I originally thought it was going to. But same time, not super concerned with that. He is a much more stable character than I've done for the last two. Both Cat and Rain were just held up by their 1 foot. And actually even the Realm one, when I did that, was just held up by 1 foot, and that was it. And now Bang here has a power stance going on. He's going to be extremely stable once he's in, so I don't need to worry about these going in quite as far as they had been. That said, we should probably start to just at least start to give him a heel. We're having that problem of where do I hold on to him as I do stuff, because I'm getting to that point where I go, yeah, I'm looking forward to hardening. If only because I can hold him again. This does not make for easy times. Okay, let's squish in to give him a little bit of the tendon going up. We still have to give the heel behind, but at least now we can make that start to feel a little better. That said, my brain is half on this. It's also half on what I'm doing after this, because it's kind of a gorgeous day outside, and I was planning on going for about a 30-mile bike ride after this, kind of through the hills of the area. But at the same time, it's kind of upper 60s. It's a little cooler. I could go for like a 10-mile run or half marathon run or something instead as a practice, because I can see next week is going to be significantly warmer. So it might be worth just kind of using this time while I can and while it's nice to do maybe one of the other workouts. But we'll see. That's gonna be after this. I've just had lunch. It's Sunday. We're back. We're in June now. It's Sunday. I think this is probably being posted on a Monday, the following Monday, if I have my numbers right. So again, I'm a week ahead, which is my goal for these, just in case, stuff goes wrong, like the computer issue from before, and if stuff like that actually becomes issues. But okay, there we go. We have now foot depth is not correct, but at least we have a heel kind of starting back there. And nothing is smooth. But no, bike ride would be nice, but it's like, do I take advantage of the run while I can? At the same time, I like doing my weekday or my weekly bike rides. They're fun. Granted, the middle of the ride here is not going to be fun going up that 400-foot hill, but other than that, which we kind of do a couple times, it's a little bit of a whoop on the particular course I plan on doing. It's not just a straight up the hill. There's a little more to it than that. Oh, get in the hole. Whoa, don't take my tool. Although I could do the hilly bike ride this time. Maybe do the longer, like 10, 11, 12, whatever mile run next week. I can do it in the local preserve. It's in the woods. It is cooler. I can go out in the morning, kind of get that done earlier. It's shade covered, and I can do it there. Because I'm going to need trail runs anyway. So, and it's actually going to be dry this week for once. And those trails are terrible when it rains. So I'm weak. I know the races I do are rain and shine, so I should be practicing on the trails, rain or shine, but I don't feel like cleaning out my shoes afterwards. So yeah, we're just gonna maybe hold off until it's drier. Next week's gonna be nice and dry. Yes, it's dry today. It rained a little yesterday. It rained on Friday. Yeah, rained on Friday, rained on Thursday, rained on Wednesday. We've had rain the whole week. So the trail's gonna be miserable today, so it's no sense doing that now. I should probably have his leg is coming down that way, probably have his foot a little more in line with the direction his leg wants it to go. Okay, so actually, if I'm taking you, if I have heel to kind of top of the knee is around there. So if I had kneel, okay, so to the top of the knee, I'm kind of in proportion. It's just the bottom isn't, and the bottom is again less important because it will be covered with stuff. So we're not 100% off. We just feel like we're off. And he's got this tiny foot. That's it. I am feeling a little better fitness-wise. The Zone 2 stuff is finally starting to kind of come into fruition, which, if you had missed some of the earlier segments, I'm basing a lot of my kind of at least weekday runs and weekday workouts off of what's called Zone 2, which is a heart rate based metric to use. In that I try to keep the heart within or at about 70% of its active number, which is basically take the maximum heart rate you have, subtract your minimum heart rate you can reach from it, and then from that take about 70% up is what you're supposed to be. So if your maximum is say 180 beats per minute and your minimum is say 50 beats per minute, you're looking at about 130 beat range. So you'd subtract about 39 from that, and that would give you your the number you're going for. So it's roughly 140 beats, which is kind of a really kind of easy jog, at least for me. So I'm basing a lot off of that, but then on the weekends I go and I tend to do now a bigger run. But the nice part is I figured I did this in the fall and I did this kind of at the start of winter back when I had plans for races in the spring that never materialized. And both times it took about 8 weeks before I started seeing any kind of real results from doing this. And I'm getting pretty close to the 8 week mark now since I started this session up. I'm doing a little more extra work than I did before, a little more speed stuff than before, because now my weekend ones tend to be on the bike or tend to be a little quicker. But in general, I am starting to reap some of the rewards. The times are dropping from kind of around. They're still right around that 10-minute mile mark. So I guess my times aren't changing super much, but I'm holding that pace for longer distances. When I started, I would be like a 3 mile run. Again, my first month was just get a routine going, and that was it. So I'd do like a 3.5 mile run. There you go, fine. But I can now do like up to 10K runs where the heart rate still isn't increasing after that point. It's staying more stable. And so in that regard, things are good. Because usually you kind of go out and as your body heats up, it starts getting less efficient, and then it kind of, the heart rate over time builds up and goes. So at least now it's stabilized. I can kind of do whatever distance I want to do, and the heart is staying stabilized at that metric without physically having to slow down. So I'm feeling good in that regard. But I'm still not fully where I'll be at. I would like to be dropping the pace, have it start going faster. I would like to get, again, back when I did this in the fall, I was getting down to the mid to low 9 minute per mile range doing this. Right now I'm still hovering around 10. But it's also technically getting warmer as we do workouts, so maybe the goal is just to kind of keep the pace I'm at, and that's it. I'm not sure. I had just started doing these back like last August, so I'm still figuring things out as we go. I have learned if you take like even a week off from workouts and want to go back, it messes everything up in this thing. The body almost wants to start from scratch again, so if you're doing just kind of the regular runs like I used to, where it's kind of go quick every single run, and there you have it, I feel like you tend to keep your paces better if you have like times off. Zone 2, I find it just wants to shut itself off very quickly anytime you take a break from it. So having that, so it is nice to finally see benefits coming from it. However, I have no idea how. As long as I keep it up, we're going to be fine. But just can't take any time off between now and, well, September. So good luck on that. That said, it's probably, we're going to see how long. I don't think I can keep doing anything much past zone 2 though as we start getting hotter, because again, my body doesn't like the heat. So we're going to be dealing with stuff that doesn't necessarily work super well for me coming pretty soon. I see mid-80s in the forecast this week. My body is going to freak. Also, I really hope we finish most of this deck within these first couple days, because I don't want to be outside doing that stuff when it's mid-80s. There's going to be some miserable days coming up if it is. Those are going to be really miserable days. Okay, we're starting to get something looking like something here. All right, big calf. So let's get you in here. Oh, wrong way, wrong way, wrong way. All right, are we a big calf? Are we a small calf? How are we doing on this? let's go this side. So we're going to be down around there. So actually, ankle's actually a hair thinner. Interesting. I thought my ankle looked kind of fat. Okay, max calf is actually pretty close in that dimension. Kind of the same in the other. So my calf's not too far off. I need to have, I think, a little more towards the back. And we're going to be good on that. Again, I think I'm a little lower than I was on the other one still, but then again, if I make this calf a little bit fatter, maybe it'll make this, what's the word, ankle. I can English. I can do it, I swear. Maybe it'll make the ankle look a little more in size. And I was hoping to have less of this stuff to do. We're at roughly that 20-minute mark, and I'm still doing this part, so kind of not happy about that. It would be nice to get off of this blocking part and start detailing again, but getting this right is kind of important, so we doing it. Again, I need having this calf be the right size helps inform how big the ankle is going to feel to be right. And getting the ankle and stuff the right size is going to help inform how big the foot needs to be to feel right. So each part builds on the previous part. It is how this comes together and works. So we kind of got to do it right. So what do we have? Wrong way. What do we have? Foot size. Foot size from back to front is that, which is, he's like almost 1.5 inches on his foot. So foot size is actually pretty good. So I am feeling happier about that. Yeah, this is both the benefit and curse of doing the second foot. Or sometimes either second foot, second hand, second of whichever thing you have two elements of, is on one hand you have the previous version you can go off of, which kind of makes things easier because you have a system down in place, you've just done it, so it's all fresh in your mind, ready to go. On the other hand, you need them to match. To at least some degree, they do have to actually look the same. I guess unless your character has something going on that you need to know about. Generally speaking, they do need to kind of be within the ballpark of each other. Ooh. Oh, doing it left-handed. Okay. So we have a general size. Let's see, toe box is such that big toe is on the inside. We do need a little bit of an inset here while we can fatten out the toe box just a little and wrap you over so you're nice. Okay, heel looks like it's dragging a bit. We need to go a little higher on this heel. I think that's why this is just feeling all kinds of wrong, because it is. So we're almost done getting the foot to feel like a foot. And then once it does, we can start detailing. So we're getting close. What time are we? We're over there. Okay, so we're like halfway through. It's funny, I have, back before I was doing some of these recording sessions here, I had 2 different models I'd finished. where every hour I was taking pictures of them just to kind of get a time lapse of how this goes. So I have a Tali from Mass Effect did that with, and I also have the Realm for Final Fantasy VI I did that with. And generally speaking, I know, again, this stuff feels kind of slow. I'm a little behind. By this point, both the feet on them, the shoes were done at this point in time. But at the same time, they had none of this up top to work with. So I'm a step behind. Haha, I'm using word that in regards to feet. But yeah, I'm a step behind on this, but I've made up for it on the rest of the body. So I'm actually still in the range of what I kind of usually have when working on these guys. So I think we're probably going to be in that. I think we're going to wind up in that 30-ish hour range by the end. I'm going to guess just a tad over. He still has a lot of details to go, but I think that's probably, if I were to just make a rough assessment what I'm looking for, that's probably in range for that. Okay, so we have that. We just need to put the little kind of dots on both sides of the ankle there. And then I think we're good after that to start actually detailing. Now that said, I want to change this a little bit, so if I can build it correctly here, I can then fix it on the other side later. There are parts on it I like, parts of it I don't like, but that's an easy thing to rectify. Well, in theory, it's an easy thing to rectify. Physically doing it's usually a different story. Usually things take more effort than I want them to, or more time than I want them to actually fix. And maybe I can do something like that off camera too. So as long as it's not drastic, huge things, I could just do that off camera too in the interest of moving along for your part. Although if this is intended just to be kind of me being more like an ASMR background noise thing while you do other stuff, me going faster or slower is going to have zero effect on you, because that may not be what you're getting out of these videos. I don't know. Like I said, my anticipation is going to be one of two different types of people who are watching this. There will be maybe a couple who are sitting here watching everything all the way through, and they just want to see the whole process. And if you're one of those, that's good. That's awesome. I'm hoping I'm providing entertainment while doing that, and I hope you understand why I'm doing choices that I'm doing during this process. The second group, I would imagine, if you fall in, is you're doing something for your own and you want to see how a particular element is done. And this is where, once I get a backlog read of this stuff going, is going to be good. So that, let's say down the road, you're making a model, you want to know how to do hands. You can look up my video for hands. You want to know how to do feet. You can look at my video that says feet. You want to know how to do hair. You can look at my video that says hair. And you can kind of use these as a reference. You're not going to watch things necessarily all the way through, but you can find an element that you need to make your own thing work, and then you can use that to better your project. And then the last is just going to be if you want to have background noise while you do something else. Again, I'm usually on Twitch a lot, and so if I'm doing any kind of reading, kind of doing researching, kind of doing anything else online, I know I always have at least one more stream on in the background, one or two, sometimes two streams in the background, just to use as background noise while I do my own thing. And to me, that feels normal. And yeah, okay. So I think we have a foot looking like a foot for this purpose. And now it's time to work on this. Now last time I did the claw part first. This time I want to do the heel first actually here, because that's going to give me how far off the ground I am, and that will help then influence how much I need these talon claw things to come down. So as I recall last time, we took this guy and I folded him over 4 times, and I wound up taking a layer off of that. So all I need to do here is just go 3 times over, and that should be the right size. So cut you off, cut that off. Let's get ourselves a big old block to work with and see how that fits in reference to this, which is actually not too bad. Let go. Yeah, 3 was the right size. Oh, no, camera's doing its thing again. Camera is doing all of its thing again. Not happy about that. Let's see, so how wide do we want this? Does that look like you're about... My foot is not nearly as wide. Okay. Any event where, whoa, that's not right. That's why. Yeah, there we go. So we want, so if I'm starting here, I want to be something like that. So I have my width. Round off the back edge. Rounding off the back edge. There will be much smoothing after it's in place as well. We might as well give it a start. And the finger is still the best for rounding anything. It always probably will be. Maybe there's a tool down there that does it nicer. But frankly, finger works pretty dang well for smoothing this type of stuff out. Okay, so I'm looking at that, and you come forward less than this. That's about the size. That's about the size. So now we just need to get this on correctly. Which I did not do. Awesome. Tag, nabbit. Okay, what do we have? I have you. Let's see if we can widen this hole out a little towards the back end. I can refill this after. Don't care. That's easy. Okay, so we need to go even further back. Ow. That's it. Just stop poking my hand. All right, well, flubbed that a little bit, but all right, we're in there now. We're in here now. We're in it to win it. All right, so that means, yeah, my metal piece is coming way down at an angle. It still works, but it's coming way down. So when I need to actually drill this hole for it to fit, I need to keep in mind that it is coming down at a pretty drastic angle. So if you're in there and you're in here, okay, so the back comes in a little bit. Comes in a little bit as long as I don't hit that, as long as I don't hit the metal spike in there, we're good. It does come down just a little because we did angle it. Okay. So I have that. Now use you. You're in there. You're up. Okay. So we came really close to getting ourselves in trouble, but you know what? The metal support is still going to be hidden in the end, so we call that success. That is all we're looking for. Doesn't matter if it came down straight through the middle, doesn't matter if it comes down kind of towards the backside. In the end, it winds up being the same. The word for that is hidden. So as long as it is hidden, it is good. Do a little bit of smoothing. Where are we on time? That's actually not super terrible. Again, could be worse. Okay, we're angled a little bit, just like my camera is angled a little bit. So let's go and see if we can bring that back. We want that to be straight with the foot. That would be super ideal. All right, we can smooth that part later. Not super concerned. Okay. With that, add these two guys. One of them doesn't look like the other. And we also had, now that I can kind of put that, oh, don't stick there. Now that I can put that in, we are going to do, I think having the metal piece in here is still the right call. So we're still going to redo this metal piece. Which was the 16 gauge. And we do need it bent back. Is that about the right? That's pretty much the right length. So yeah, the other one I don't think goes out as much. I actually want to take just a teeny bit off of this. All right, got myself right in the hand. So that's the width of this. I can do the same thing on this side. It's the width of that. And we bring it just a little bit too far. We do want it curving. It does curve in a little bit. Oh, sorry about that. I'm supposed to put this up. I'm a little behind. Okay, yeah, because we finished kind of doing, we didn't really finish detailing out the leg, but we have been getting it to size. We do want this to come actually back a ways, as you can see on the bottom of that foot over there. So I do want that. Now we need enough of this to shove in to make it stable. Okay. That wasn't for pressure to kind of put on that. That was more so pieces didn't go flying out, because I kind of need both halves. So we take that, that one, and there we go. Okay. So we are going to do the same thing again. You start off kind of together, and then it goes in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. So you're in there. This one goes one way, one goes the other way. And theoretically, when we stick you in here, that's down, that's down. They're right on the ground. They will then take the weight. At least now that I have that, I can know these guys will take the weight, and that'll be good. That said, you're actually just a teeny bit long. cutting the very edge of it off. All right, with all the stuff I'm doing, I just want to make sure I'm not messing things up too much back here. It's really in his hips I keep holding, so I know in here it needs to be kind of rebuilt out just a little, because I keep pushing it in, pushing it in, pushing it in. But okay, so now with that, now we can take these guys, pretend like I knew which direction it was facing. You needed more of a 90-degree angle on this. Little rounded edge does not feel right. Unless you're going that way, in which case I had this backwards. Rounded edge was correct. Rounded edge is correct. I'm just holding things backwards, because it's been a little while since I did that part. That's the top side. This side's the part that goes down as such. That kind of comes short there. I think we're going to have you come down just a little more. Alright, so that feels kind of okay on that. You feel kind of okay on that. We're going to pack this in. Get it down in there. And I'm kind of of the opinion that I need to stop hitting the wires on those. So I think I'm not going to do the wire part on this yet. I'm not going to detail this part out yet. I think from here I want to build up the shin, because I feel like I'm less likely to destroy the shin as I am this portion. So we're actually going to go to the next step in line from what I'd done before, and then we'll come back and do this, because I'm gonna mess this up over time. So back to send this through twice, make sure all air pockets and stuff are out. And what we had last time was we're starting with, okay, so I need to copy this over here. Now, I'm not going to finish this. I can see what I have. It's limited amount of time. But if I can start to get that going, I think we're going to be okay. And I can do, rather than trace on the other foot, I can kind of get an idea from here that that's not too far off. I'm just going to make you go up just a little bit bigger this time. And then from there, I remember that I should angle this down. We came up at kind of a lighter angle as it went. That was a little more of an angle than I wanted. That's fine. Okay, I can see roughly how thick we are. And you can see we were going really slow on the sizing things out, getting it right. But as I had stated before, second time through, things tend to go a little bit more expediently. And this is definitely where we start to enjoy the fruits of our labors from before. Okay, we do not need nearly this much stuff on here, so let's just get some of this excess off, just so I'm not swimming in excess junk and I have more weight coming down on top of this than I otherwise need and whatnot. I feel like we're just a little bit wide though. You are a little bit wide. This is a little bit wide. I can't see what I'm doing when it's at this angle. Okay, so it comes in. We're angled, we're centered on the shin. We're coming down. Again, this is going to be peeled up. That's going to be peeled up. So we come down there, and then we kind of come back up and around. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And actually, it doesn't really bend back up. It kind of hits the bottom and then goes kind of straight across. So we get there, we get this. And we now have the bottom of the boot. Okay, so that's in there. Feel like you're awfully high compared to the other one. So bottom of the foot to there is fine. Something's not right. That bottom to point. Bottom to point. Bottom to point is good. We now have bottom to point. So we want this thing to actually come down quite a ways. So a little more like that feel. That's right there. Okay, that's a little more correct. We're still a little bit higher than the other one, but we're feeling a lot more correct. So I guess we bring you down. Oh, the good part with clay, you can fudge things a little bit as it goes. It's all good. Very user-friendly material, that's the word. Oh, I draw blanks on words so many times. My long-term memory is great. My short-term memory and kind of recollection of stuff, sometimes not so spot on. It's always that bad feeling when you know what the word is and it just doesn't want to come. Okay, so we have the bottom of it right there. That's what we're doing. So now we get the top part. Comes next. And for that, we get to reuse this guy again. It's kind of the same deal. I'm going to take that. And realistically, I should be just doing a V. But really, all I need to do is draw this parallel, kind of cut this parallel line, which... Oh, 1 second while I go behind this thing here and grab myself a straight edge. Okay. Let's cut something straight. That might be fantastic. Okay. I have other ones for nice small pieces. I like not to clutter up the work area, so I have various sized, but at least I have a nice small one to use for this. Make sure that is nice and straight. We want something that's probably about that. Okay, we're within range of what the other one is. So let's get all of this stuff out of the way. Whoop, get out of there. Otherwise I'm going to be sticking to everything, and I just have junk everywhere. Okay. These guys don't need to be here. That stuff out of the way. Okay, now you. So now we want to be... Okay, so wrong tool. So I can do on this is I can convert this into a point, because again, these things are nice that way. I like the clay. And you're actually going to come way up. Difference between there and that was from kind of point to point. If I have point to point is right in there. So that's good. It goes up and it actually... Oh, let's see, we're on our boot. Let's slide this image over just a little. And I can see that this boot is actually going up higher than I think. How is that possible? I'm not even sure, because it kind of goes up here and disappears, and then really that's going to take over. So you actually kind of come up and disappear into the nether up here. It's almost like that goes somewhere out to there and just kind of stops. You start down, you're going to come up somewhere into here and just kind of stop. And we don't need to worry about how any of this resolves itself up top, because we're going to have his parachute pant thing's going to kind of come down here anyway, and it's going to hide all of that. So we're not going to see how this resolves itself. So I don't need to worry about how this resolves itself. I can just keep it right there and it's fine. Isn't that nice? Okay. We like it when stuff like that happens. It just seems to make life easier. Okay, that said, we need to do a vertical piece on that. Also, just for my own sake, let me click out on the computer. It has this big red box around the image I just moved, and I don't really need to look at that as I go ahead and do my stuff. So we're a little bit wider on this one because it gets split into two. Come back, you can sit back and relax, that's fine. He can take a break, he deserves it. He's had a rough go of it right now. He's dealing with me the whole day. So you're gonna come in, you're gonna come up. Getting a little hair there. I love when like you get just that little hair kind of gets stuck in something, and you're like, why? How did that happen? All right, I'm feeling a little bit too thick. So let's get some of this excess off. That's gone. Where are you? This is going to be gone. You can do it. You can do it. Yeah. All right. We got that out. Good. All right. Let's smooth this out so it reads like one thing. It reads like one element before we go and break it up into wanting to feel like two elements again, but in a different way. Okay, there's going to be a whole lot of smoothing, kind of straightening things out and whatnot going on with this. We're just kind of really kind of quickly going through this process. There we go, we get that. We use it to now separate both of those halves apart. And looking at time, and we are pretty much out of time for this session. But after kind of a really slow start, it picked up pace really quick by the end here. And it's very rough. Again, I've just basically been slapping stuff down. I have not smoothed anything. I have not really done anything to make this look nice. But we're getting the elements kind of popped in real quick. And as we can see, we now have... He's got a couple... He definitely has some progress that's been visually made on this one. So let's go ahead, let's put our money shot on the back there. As you can see, yeah, we now have a little bit of both sides going. I'm feeling better about this. May or may not finish the boot stuff next time, because again, I want to fix the one side and then need to adjust this side to match, so the two sides match each other. And then there's going to be a whole lot of smoothing, kind of a number of little touch-up things after that. But yeah, coming soon. We're getting close to the first hardening. We're getting close. So we're almost there. But no, this is definitely feeling better at this point. I like seeing that he has the other shoe going on. It's bringing everything into scale. And yeah, progress is good. So this has been fun. This has been Chris. This has been the next session of the Bang Project, and until next time, enjoy.